All right, welcome back to the 13th pick. We're going to be talking about the Timberwolves right now. And to start off, I really like that pairing of how they got D'Lo to make Cat happy because last season went really, really bad for this team. I think they went like 2 months without winning a game or something like that. And you could tell, like, when something like that happens, it just feels like their superstar player is going to want to demand something. Either he wants to demand out or just demand some moves to happen. Before that even happened, they got D'Lo, and they didn't let go that much. They let go of one first round pick, and that pick could end up being valuable. But the thing is, if that pick is 1 to 4 protected, so if it is valuable, like a top five pick, they're gonna keep it. So they gave up Wiggins as well, and you could tell Wiggins it just wasn't gonna work out with them. So getting Cat's best friend, getting a guy that actually fits with Cat, and alongside the fact that he's a point guard, I think that was a really good move. And I think that D'Lo has shown he can lead a team to the playoffs. Although it was in the East, his team was still really good. They were beating teams that were also in the West, and him and Cat are gonna be a really good dynamic duo. And I also like that they traded for Malik Beasley because the thing about Denver was they had too much talent and they had to let some go because they couldn't afford to keep them all. So getting a guy like Malik Beasley that just fits in really well with them. He's a shooting guard. He's a lights out shooter, and I just think that was a really good fit too. Regardless of like all that off court shit that's going on, the on court fit I really like it, and I also like the fact that they drafted Anthony Edwards. There was a lot of talk about oh they might trade it to get like a win now player and make the playoffs, and that would have been depending on who they got, like I know a lot of Wolves fans really wanted Ben Simmons, and I think Ben Simmons is like a perfect fit for this roster, but that was not going to happen. I think that going into going into the draft, the right move was to take Anthony Edwards. They shouldn't no Wiseman, no Lamelo Ball. I don't know if that was like any validity behind the rumors, but I think that Edwards was the best basketball fit, and they did that. And overall, given like their circumstances, they had a really good offseason, getting Rubio so D'Lo could play two guard as well sometimes. I just really like what they've done, but we'll talk about our expectations from later, but I really like what they've done so far with that roster.
Yeah, I agree with you. The roster is pretty good. Like anytime you have Karl Anthony Towns as your best player and D'Angelo Russell as your second best player, you're in a decent fit. And I think they're building towards the future and drafting a guy like Anthony Edwards, who should be a really good player. Probably going to be one of the top rookies in the league. The thing is, like you said, trading for Ben Simmons, but this draft class wasn't like that appealing for the Philadelphia 76ers to make that trade because think about it from their perspective. They could trade for a guy like James Harden right now, potentially, right? So I feel like that's a better move for them. But coming back to the Wolves, I expect Cat to have a really good year. I think he's going to be really dominant, and if him and D'Lo are actually healthy and if they play well, I think this team has a pretty good chance to win a couple, like decent amount of games, maybe make the playoffs. That's obviously a push, but if they could do that, that'd be like a really great season for them. And obviously, adding in a guy like Malik Beasley is decent as well. I think a really good pickup was Ronda Hollis Jefferson. He's going to bring some defensive energy towards that team and some size because it's kind of looking the small forward position isn't as strong as it should be. I'm not really sure who they're going to guard, like guys like LeBron, KD, etc., James Harden. So if you could put a guy like Ronda Hollis Jefferson on him, that'd be a pretty good fit. But I just want to see what D'Lo and Cat could do in a full season if they could. Because last season we never really got to see him play that much. So a full like 72 game season, let's see what they could do, right?
Yeah, it was a little rough because just the timing of the season when D'Lo got traded, he was injured, and then he came back, and then Cat was injured, so they never got to play that many games together. So we don't really know what they really look like on court, but we know off court they have that chemistry, and it didn't seem like there would be many problems with them. I just think that yeah, like you said, the small forward, power forward position is just kind of weak. I think they need. I think Rondo was a great pickup as well because Cat's not really the best defender, so you need a good defender beside him in the front court. So I like that I think I like that their front office is really going for it. Really try to put some good pieces around. Although it may not look like they're like a top team, and they're really making some big moves. They are making like some low key, like some nice little additions that complement their
They're,
roster.
they're just like building towards the future. I really feel like
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. Even the addition of Hernan Gomez, I think that's a pretty good move. Like he's not a household name or anything, but like if he could play his position and help alongside Cat, but it's just like you said, like Cat is such a dynamic player, but he's not the best defender out there. And you just need a really good defender alongside Cat. So I don't like a guy like James Johnson actually was a pretty good fit, in my opinion, if they had like a longer season together. But like I'm not really sure why they traded for him. But like a guy adding in like Ricky Rubio, that's good. But is Ricky Rubio gonna come off the bench? Because I don't think he's gonna be starting, is he?
I don't really know. That's something I was gonna ask you. Like, do you think? Because I think that they could start Rubio and Russell together because D'Lo does play shooting guard sometimes. and he
Yeah,
can
he does.
shoot
He
the ball.
does.
So I think they could since their backup point guard is Jordan McLaughlin, and he's not bad or anything, but he's not gonna be your backup on a playoff team, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I think that maybe they'll start together, and then afterwards, like maybe D'Lo go to the bench, Rubio's a point guard, then D'Lo comes in, he's a point guard, and they finish games together again. So one of them's on the court at all times, running point. I don't know, but
yeah. But that's the thing. I don't think you want to start. Like you probably want to start Anthony Edwards because he's obviously the number one pick. And the thing is, he's only like 6'3", 6'4", and like I think he's undersized to be a small forward. So like I would prefer him at like the shooting guard position. But if he's a small forward, like I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. And then you still have to like fill that power forward position. Who's that gonna be? It might be Hernan Gomez or it could be Ronda Hollis. I would prefer Ronda to be the small forward. And like this is what I want for the starting lineup. I think I want D'Lo, uh, Edwards, Ronda Hollis, maybe Hernan Gomez, and then obviously Cat. And then coming off the bench, you have Rubio, and another really great player is Josh Okogie, who I'm a fan of. He brings that like defensive energy, the hustle. But the problem is he's only like 6'3" too. So like he's undersized too, and he's not the best offensive player. Because you can't start him because his offensive ability isn't there yet. So that's why it's like they really have a lot to figure out. And the thing is, like I said, anytime you have Cat and D'Lo, it's good. But we need this is going to be a big year for Cat. I know he's been through a lot of family trouble, and like hopefully he gets well soon and all that stuff. But the thing is, it's going to be a big year for him because as a leader, he's been questioned, and I'm not saying he has to make the playoffs or anything because the West is extremely tough, but he has to be consistent. And I want to see him be an actual good leader out there and make his teammates better. And like I want his play to be consistent. And I honestly want to see him be a better defender because I think he has the tools for it, but I just don't think that's been his focus. So if you could really focus towards that, and even back to D'Lo, like D'Lo's a great player, right? Like don't get me wrong, but I want to see D'Lo take that next push too because I think he really can to his game. Like D'Lo could be an all-star, consistent, like perennial all-star type of player. That's hard saying in the West, but like he has a talent for it. And maybe he could learn a few things from Ricky Rubio because the Ricky Rubio is the type of guy who's going to stay like the same type of player. He's not going to go up. He could go down in the future because of aging and all that stuff, but he could really pass on some knowledge to D'Lo.
yeah, I agree. But I think that about Anthony Edwards, I think maybe you could start him at small forward because at the end of the day, this team's not gonna care about defense, right? So I think you might as well he has the tools to be a good defender, but even if he isn't, just throw like your best five out there regardless of like defense, and maybe
Yeah.
you can just try to outscore the other team, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
they do have the personnel to have like when it's time to get a stop, you can put out a good defensive lineup. You can have like Okogie, like you said. If Edwards is a good defender, you could throw him out there. You could throw in Ronde. But one guy I really like is a backup, Nas Reed. He's only
Oh, yeah.
21 years old, and I really like his game. I think he has a pretty good skill set for a center. He doesn't play like a traditional center. But another thing I want to mention is
Oh, wait. Yo, sorry to interrupt you. I was talking about the starting lineup. You would have to start Malik Beasley too. So I got that all mixed up. You would have to start Malik Beasley. You give him a pretty big bag. So I think he's someone who'd probably have to start too, don't you think?
yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, they have a lot to figure out, right?
yeah, that's for the coach to figure out. If he comes off the bench, that's perfect. But I would, if I have Anthony Edwards and I draft him number one,
Yeah,
I would not want Malik Beasley to start over him, right? Like you're if
yeah,
you're the number one pick, he has to start for you regardless, unless you have like some superstar ahead of him.
exactly. Yeah,
But yeah, maybe Rubio goes to the bench and then you could start Beasley and Edwards. But at the same time, Rubio's making like 17 million. So I don't know. That's just for them to figure out, bro.
yeah,
I think regardless, they should figure it out. But the one thing we did forget is that they're gonna have some playing games this year. For the seventh and eighth seed, it's gonna
yeah.
be a playing game. So if the Timberwolves are even the 10th seed and they win like two playing games or whatever, three playing games, they'll make the playoffs. So given that, do you think would you be surprised if they're the 10th seed but they beat the eighth seed and get in?
I'd be really surprised because there's three things that need to go if the for the Minnesota Timberwolves to make the playoffs. Cat has to be an MVP candidate, D'Lo has to be an All Star, and Anthony Edwards has to be Rookie of the Year. I think if they could do those three things, then this team could go to the playoffs. Even if they don't do one of those things, I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. I think that's my criteria for them.
Bro, I think that is very unlikely for all three things to happen.
No, I'm just saying, bro. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, like, yo, he could be an MVP candidate. He
Yeah,
has the tools to
100%.
be a top five, top four, top six. Like he doesn't have to win, obviously.
Yeah,
And like D'Lo, if he's like in that All Star range, like you know what I mean. If he's playing like
yeah.
that level, same thing with Anthony Edwards. Yo, like he's a number one pick, bro. He should be the Rookie of the Year. I feel like there's obviously great rookies, but he's in a great situation too. So it's not like he's not going to get a share of shots, right? He's going to get a share of shots, and they don't have like extreme expectations where it's like we have to make the playoffs. Obviously, they want to because it's like what Cat's like fifth, sixth year now. Same with D'Lo. He's been playing. They've been playing for quite some time now. They're not like rookies anymore. They're not young players. They're like getting into their prime almost. So like if you look at it from that way and like the way these guys think of themselves, because they are really, really talented, really raw. And like we saw that back and forth with Joel and B last year on social media, on like on Instagram and all that, right? So
Yeah,
like I feel like that stuff, even though it's all fun and games, you really have to back that stuff up on the court, man. Like I really think you have to. I really have. You have to really take that stuff seriously.
yeah. I just think that I don't think all three necessarily have to happen because yeah, they have to like obviously D'Lo has to play at an all-star level, like you said, but I think if they just give you similar production to what they had, like if D'Lo gives you similar production to what he had in Brooklyn, where it was like
But
21.
he was an all star in Brooklyn. That's the thing. He was at least close to like he was an all
Yeah,
star, and even if he never made the team, it would have been like, oh shit, he could have made the team. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
that was more
that's
so.
kind of what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but that was more so about like how his team was winning, right? And obviously he was
Yeah,
contributing to that. But I think that if they just have like if D'Lo has like that same production, averaging 21 and 7 or whatever it was that year, and if
yeah,
Cat plays similar to how he does, but contributes more to winning, what is it?
yeah,
Making plays, making the hustle plays, making playing playing better defense. I
yeah.
think those two, if those two happen, which isn't like you said, that could happen. And Edwards playing the rookie of the year level, like you said, I think Edwards is just the X factor here. You know what I mean? Because they
He's
do
an X factor.
they
That's
need
true.
that
Yeah,
third guy. They need that third guy for sure. So that I think
yeah.
making the playoffs is going to come down to Edwards more so than D'Lo and Pat.
That's true. And another guy we haven't even talked about is Jared Culver. He was they were quite high on him too, but he never really like delivered. It's first year, I get it, but I want to see where he fits into all of this too. So that's obviously for the coach to figure out. Like I feel like they have a lot of pieces, and they don't necessarily need to keep all these pieces for the future, but they need to pick the right ones. Like they already have D'Lo, they have Cat, and hopefully Anthony Edwards. So if they could just kind of keep that and see what other players fit in, and let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, they have. I forgot about Clover, bro. They got he didn't get a lot of minutes last year, but again,
Yeah,
he was like a sixth pick or whatever. So you got to give him some minutes too, right?
yeah,
But like you said, they have so many guards, bro. Let me just read this out to you: Malik Beasley, Jarrett Culver, Anthony Edwards, Josh Okogie, Ricky Rubio, and D'Lo. That's 6 point guards that or six guards, sorry, that all deserve minutes. And some of
yeah,
them, yeah, you could throw them at small forward, but at the end of the day, like they're point guard, shooting guard.
yeah.
So I don't know. They got a lot of pieces, yo. I think they're gonna have a. It's a good problem to have, but at the same time, you got to figure it out. Because if you don't figure it out, it's just gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
is there
The
any?
the the other problem is that the West is just so stacked, and
Yeah,
like I feel like there's 14 teams in the West, at least 13 teams in the West that could probably make the playoffs, and that's probably considering the Timberwolves as well.
yeah,
So like just imagine being in that. So like every game is going to be important. There's going to be no really feel out games for these type of teams because like a team like the Lakers could, you know what, they could rest their players and they could like rest and all that stuff, but like these teams got to take every single game seriously, right?
mhm, yeah. And that's why I think I kind of like that playing game because there's so many teams that are gonna be like in that playoff contention. At the end of the day, if you have that playing tournament, the best team will make it probably.
Most likely.
Yeah,
Especially, well, I mean, I feel like every time the best team will make it because one game you're gonna give it all you have, right? And that just really
yeah.
shows who you are. It shows your character. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So usually at the end we talk about a goal that we have for the team. Like it could be anything, it could be something big, it could be something small. Do you have a goal for this team? Anything realistic?
I feel like those three goals that I had in the beginning. If Cat could be kind of like an MVP type of player,
Yeah.
not necessarily the MVP or even top three candidate. D'Lo could give me like 21 and 7, basically what he gave me last year. And Anthony Edwards is a reliable rookie that you could actually trust. I'm not saying he has to average 20 points or anything, but I want to see if he's. I just want to see what he's made of, right? And if he could back everything he's talking about, because a lot of people say he's a new Dwayne Wade. I've seen that. I've seen a lot of people say that. I'm not saying he's gonna be Wade, because Wade's like a fucking legend, right? So
Yeah.
let's see what he is like in his first year.
Mhm. Yeah, that those are some solid goals. I think that just to switch it up a little bit so we don't have the same thing, I would probably have a goal for them, I think should be if they make the playoffs. I think that's like a goal they
No,
should
yeah, for
have.
sure,
For
for sure.
them, they should have a goal for sure. But so for me, if you're the 10th seed, you're the playing game, you don't have to win 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
Make it. I think for them, the goal should be at least win the first one. Get to the point where it's like It's kind of like a game seven type situation, right? You go or go win or go home type situation. Get to
Yeah.
that point, either that or make the playoffs. I think that
Okay.
is probably my realistic goal for them.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for this episode about the Timberwolves. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to us. Peace out.
Peace out.